So here is an example of when you're given three sides. So this is what we would call an SSS, three sides, and it's a law of cosines type problem. So because the law of cosines has a bunch of restrictions on it, we have to remember these. For law of cosines for SSS, the rule is you find the largest angle first. So we're going to find the largest angle. Then we use law of sines to find whatever else we need, and then just subtract from 360 to find the third angle. All right, so this is a big deal. Largest angle first when you have three sides. So we would look at this and say, okay, the largest angle is definitely angle B because it's across from the largest side. So that means the formula we're going to have to use is the formula where we're solving for angle B, which would be this formula. Because we've got all the formulas memorized by now, don't we? Well, I know we do. Okay, now this is the one that's last because it's the one that's most complicated of this kind of stuff. And it's the algebra mistakes that are going to get us. It's like everything else we've been doing all year. It's the algebra that is going to get us. So we're going to have to be real careful here. See, because you got cosine B over here by itself, and we're trying to solve for B. So basically, what I always like to do is move these guys to the other side. And you know how it is. There's always more than one way to do these problems. You can do whatever you want. So now to get cosine B by itself, now I need to divide these guys out because this is multiplied by cosine B. So I'm going to change the order here. So I'm going to have 25 squared minus 20 squared minus 23 squared divided by this stuff that's multiplied by cosine B. So I'm going to clean all this up, and then I'm going to do inverse cosine. So what I would recommend is put that in parentheses, because when we do the calculator, which for some reason. All right, so here's what I would do. Open parentheses, 25 squared minus 20 squared minus 23 squared. So that's your numerator right there, enclosed in parentheses, divided by, open parentheses, negative button, not minus button. Down here, negative button, negative 2 times 20 times 23, close that parentheses. So we entered all that very carefully, closing parentheses, et cetera, et cetera. And when you get it, you get some funky number. Okay, this is just some funky number. I don't even care what all this is because I'm just going to use the answer button. So I'm going to do inverse cosine second answer. So I'm just doing inverse cosine to get cosine by itself, inverse cosine of that answer right there. And then so it'll be perfectly accurate. So when you hit that, you get 70.705 degrees. So that was the largest angle. So 70.705 degrees. Now, our rule says you can find either remaining angle next using the law of sines. I always find the smaller one next. My second step, find the smaller one, because for SAS, we found the smaller one second. So if you just always find the smaller one as your second step when you're doing a law of cosines, then you'll always be getting it right when it matters. So I'm going to find the smaller angle next. So the smaller angle is going to be angle A. So angle A is my smaller angle. Now, one more. This is on my calculator, unrounded. I hadn't done anything to this number yet. Angle B. It's on my calculator, unrounded. So let's do a setup for angle A. So sine of A, because that's the smaller angle that I'm going to find next, over 20, sine of A over 20 would equal sine of B over 25. But see, we know what B is. B is that guy right there. So I'm just going to use the answer button again. So I'm going to have sine of A is equal to 20 times sine of 70.705, which I'm going to just use the answer button divided by 25. So on my calculator, I'm going to say 20 times sine of that answer, because that answer is angle B. And make sure you close that parentheses, divided by 25. Okay, so now I've got 0.755063065. And I don't even care, right? Because what am I going to do next? I'm going to do inverse sine of that answer, which is already on your calculator, unrounded. So you're going to do inverse sine of that answer. So that makes 49.031. So angle A is 49.031. Okay. And then just to find angle C, we do the old subtraction routine. So we're going to have 180 minus, and this is where you can use the rounded numbers, 49.031 minus 70.705. So I think I did that right. So 60.264. Okay. So a little bit more complicated. You got lots of places to make careless mistakes algebraically. And let's do a quick check. Are the answers logical? Is the largest angle across from the largest side, and is the smallest angle across from the smallest side? So that's a yes, because the 60 is the middle angle and the 23 is the middle side. So the answers are logical. It doesn't guarantee they're correct, but it just means that at least they're logical. So if something was messed up, I would know. All right. So anyway, that's SSS, the other type of law of cosines problem.